Is there support in the community for homeless veterans? In today's story, one local Phoenix organization highlights their efforts to improve the lives of this growing population. Stay tuned. Welcome to Stories of Hope. I'm Christine Hotchkiss. Each week I bring you stories that inspire, educate, and give you hope. I want to thank my sponsor and podcast producer, the Motivated Mind Group. The homeless population in the U.S. spans every age, race, background, and many of them are veterans. These people need food, shelter, clothing, and in many cities, there are limited resources available to help them. My guests today are from the Tanner Community Development Corporation, a Phoenix nonprofit aiming to improve the lives of those less fortunate. Welcome, Kerwin.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about the Tanner Community Development Corporation, also known as TCDC.
Yes, and we're known as TCDC because Tanner Community Development Corporation can be a mouthful sometimes.
It is.
But TCDC is we were, as I like to say, birthed by our church, Tanner Chapel AME, which is the oldest African American congregation in Arizona, even though we're not exclusively African American. And in the year 2001, our pastor decided that we needed to include more outreach into the community. So TCDC was formed as a separate nonprofit, doing outreach into the community for health and wellness issues, for youth, for families, for seniors.
Families as a focus.
Oh, definitely.
Community.
Yes. Well, community especially, and with a focus of the African American community, but inclusive of anyone who's in need that we feel like we can help. We make sure that it's all inclusive.
I was going to ask what the mission statement is, but I don't think there's a mission statement because you sent me a lot of information. I'm just going to say, what is your mission?
Well, the mission really is just to try to help people have a better life. That's in a nutshell all of what we do, and along with the what I consider kind of our social services arm, our outreach arm to help the community. We also have a development arm. We are currently about to launch a project that we've been working on for quite some time, developing a community of casita-style small homes for homeless veterans, or I'll say previously homeless veterans, because once they get there, they're no longer homeless.
Correct. Is this anything related to your program of the tiny homes?
Yeah. Good question, because I stopped saying tiny homes.
Okay.
Because so many people had different perspectives of what a tiny home was. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be more precise on exactly what these are going to be. Some 400 square feet, some 600 square feet individual units. But they are not like you see sometimes on TV where you have these homes rolling down the street. These are permanent structures, and it is not transitional housing. This is permanent housing, and part of the main piece of this community is there'll be a resource center on site for any of the services that the tenants will need, whether it be job training, whether it be help navigating their health care through the Veterans Administration. All of the different needs that the people that will be living there in this community, they can be helped through this resource center that will be on site.
So you're saying it's not transitional, so this is permanent. So the veterans come in there, this is now their home where they stay.
This is now their home.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of some of the research that we did, showed us that veterans do better when they have their own to take care of.
Correct.
So if you put them in a big apartment complex, it's one thing. But if they have their own unit that they can take care of on their own, they thrive. They do a lot better than being put in where there's where you have to share several walls with different people.
Well, and from what I understand, veterans, they have a different, their mind has been changed. The things that they've been through, and the Me Too factor, it absolutely is going to be a comfort
Sure.
to them. We had a gentleman on here not too long ago, and what he spoke about, I can understand why you're saying what you're saying, and now I understand how this is put together.
Yeah, and this community is going to be truly a community. There'll be a community garden aspect as part of this. We'll have a dog run that will be part of this, so that because a lot of the veterans that are currently out on the street or homeless, they would refuse to come in if they can't bring their pets with them.
Understood.
So we wanted to make sure that we accommodated that as well.
How has that impacted the community?
Well, homelessness in general has impacted the community. It's once again, when people don't have somewhere to lay their head, it creates all kind of other problems. And the fact that a large percentage of the homeless population are veterans, and these are people that actually dedicated their lives to keep us safe. That's something that I think is just it's not something that anybody should look to accept. So the community, I think, is aware, very very much aware, that homelessness in general is a problem. Mm-hmm. And the fact that a great deal of the homeless population is made up of veterans is something that everyone wants there to be a solution to. We're just trying to do our part to try to help, in any way we can, to lessen the amount of homeless veterans that are out there, because it does affect the community. Because these people are part of the community.
Absolutely.
They come from the community. I mean, I talk to people who have told me that their brothers or their sons or whatever, they know that they're out there on the street somewhere. So imagine the anxiety that creates for that person. Not knowing where they are or how they're doing. I mean, it's 115 degrees, for God's sakes.
And some people wouldn't believe that's the true degree, but it is truly
Yes,
the temperature
yes,
here in Arizona
yes.
right now.
and there are people that are living out on the street
in that heat.
In that heat.
Yeah.
We have homeless people that try to take refuge in our stairwells occasionally in our office building, and it just it's the effect of the community just goes very deep and very wide, and so we want to do whatever we can to correct it.
Now, I don't know the number of veterans that are homeless, and I've actually sat down with a couple of other organizations that also serve the veterans, homeless in particular, because there is such a need. That's why I asked what kind of impact it was in the community for you.
Sure.
How many veterans will you be able to house?
Yeah, there will be 37 individual units that will house the veterans in this particular community. Okay. However, we are already planning for our phase 2 and looking for other properties to do similar programs for veterans or for other homeless populations. Even, I was on a panel not too long ago talking about the missing middle.
The missing middle?
The missing middle.
MIDDLE?
When you talk about housing, the housing shortage in this town, there are folks that have regular jobs that normally would be the middle class. They can't afford to live in the areas where they work.
Right.
This is considered the missing middle, and and we talked about the various things that possibly we need to do to even correct that. Because if everybody ends up finding a house or an apartment that they can afford way away from where they work, well, that means now you're tying up the freeways coming in and out. It just creates more and more problems. Mm-hmm. So that's another issue that we're hoping that we may be able to do something about, is having not only housing for homelessness, to correct homelessness, but also to help just the housing shortage in the greater Phoenix area.
Thank you. And thank you for wanting to find a home for the homeless veterans. Not that everyone else, we talked about this, everyone deserves to have a place called home. But our veterans are the ones that seem to lose out from what I've seen when they've come back and sacrificed so much.
Exactly.
And that included their families or their mental state of mind.
Mm-hmm. We're working with the Veterans Administration, so that you kind of have to qualify through their VASH program. Mm-hmm. To actually qualify to be a tenant in this community. But some of those veterans, I'm sure, will have had some challenges. But that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we help the people that need the help. You know what, Kerwin? Everyone deserves a place to call home. Without a place to call home, there was a research done by the Morrison Institute and the Town Hall that stated that homelessness, if you give somewhere a place to call home, it mitigates in a lot of times a lot of the other issues that come up, the drug abuse, the mental challenges that people have, if they just have somewhere to call home to lay their head. I think we feel secure when we think we have something that we can call home. Absolutely. Whatever that is, tiny home, casita, a tent. Yeah. And Clyde, you're a part of the coordinating of the programs? I'm the coalition coordinator for the HEAL Coalition, which stands for Help Enrich African American Lives. Okay. Tell me more about what that is. Well, what it is, we're a part of Tanner Community Development Corporation, and what we do is basically tackle substance misuse and abuse among youth ages 12 through 17 in the African American community. So we reach out and we help and provide them and educate them on the dangers of using various substances: alcohol, marijuana, prescription drugs, fentanyl, counterfeit pills, meth, and we also do and touch upon suicide also among our youth. And what we do is also not only teach them and their parents and their families, but we also give them the skills to go out and do peer-to-peer presentations on the same subject matters. And then, of course, when you take one part of TCDC or when HEAL gets in the door, we bring everything else in with us, all our other programs, because a lot of times the family needs more than just one resource. I agree. To help them. Yeah. So we put ourselves in that position so that once we step in that door, everybody else coming in with us. Yeah. The whole family, the friends, the coalition. Yeah. And as far as the programs go for the youth, you said the ages of 12 to 17. Yes. However, we have found over the years that even the young people, the 5 to 8, 10-year-olds want to get involved. And we've patterned ourselves after some other organizations around the state that when they do their peer-to-peer education, they go into the elementary schools. And then that also serves as a mechanism to recruit future members. So we work with young people, no matter the age, and we also work with those people that are high school graduates, maybe in college. One of the key things and why it's so important to have collaborations and partnership, if we don't do it, we generally know who does do it. And so we can refer people to the other organizations that provide the services that meet their needs. Well, I was going to mention it goes with the veterans thing. It's a Me Too with the space in the home. For you, it's about getting the younger ones involved to keep them from having to be seen as so they can help one another and they can learn as well. So it's another Me Too factor. Yes. That's a great collaboration. So this is going to be a little topic that people are like, so marijuana is legal, yay. How has that affected your program? The thing that was something that we were very aware of and studied, worked with groups, followed what goes on in Denver and other places that were in the early stages of legalizing marijuana. And the approach that we use is not so much the fact that it's legal, but that the fact that it is still dangerous. For some of us that are kind of relatively
a younger, older age. We should remember.
We're in an age group that you're talking about.
Yeah. And so there, we should remember the commercial where this is not your father's Oldsmobile.
Okay.
So we tell young people that this is not your father's marijuana.
Okay.
Because some of them see their parents use it and things of that nature. And so we teach them that this really, the content of the THC that's in there, and they treat marijuana now with just like tobacco. And most people know and are aware of there's over 3,000 different chemicals that they treat tobacco with. Similar things with marijuana. They treat it now to make it go further, to stretch it. And those things can really affect young people's mind, which has been found out that young people's minds really aren't fully developed until they're in the late 20s, mid-20s. A few, very few though, in their early 20s, but most of them
are questionable.
Yeah, some of them still, you think, sometimes in their 30s or 40s. But however, that is one of the things that we find, and that's what we stress, and then the health consequences.
Absolutely.
And that's the other thing that we address and try to tell young people and stuff.
So along the lines of marijuana, we also work educating youth on tobacco use as well. Vaping, is something
still big.
that is so misconstrued as far as what it does and how it affects people, that we want to make sure that we at least give the information and give it to them early, so that they have a better understanding of exactly what it's about.
I'm going to assume your techniques aren't so much of the scare tactics of the consequences, but more of the educational. It's still going to be a choice. You can still give someone information. It's just what they plan or not plan on doing with it.
Yeah.
Now, most of our programs are evidence-based.
Okay.
And we basically here in Arizona utilize the Arizona Youth Survey and a few other surveys from around the state. And then we do our own needs assessment for our communities. And mostly that comes out on top is usually the similar factors, where they get it from, why they use it, stress, school, anxiety, depression.
Right.
And so all those things add up, and so we go out and develop our programs in turn based upon the evidence and the information that we collect.
That actually hits every age, if you think about it. And the other thing that I think about, too, since we've talked about veterans and we talk about the youth, is the suicide part. And it was part of the panel that we talked about last month. Mental health, suicide, substance abuse, running away, trying to find out who we are, thinking. I think we covered all of it. And suicide, it hits the smallest of ages, 5?
Yes, it starts very early in some cases. And the signs are, so we're one of the few organizations that do all 3 suicides. Teaching, QPR, question, persuade, refer, safe talk, suicide, apply skills for everyone, tell, ask, look, keep safe, and assist, apply suicide intervention skills training. Each one builds upon the other. And we work with these and do these classes in conjunction with other organizations, such as the Urban Indian Coalition. They have several trained staff that also train the same thing. And these classes have certain requirements that you have to meet with so many instructors and things of that nature. So combining and working with other organizations, we're able to fulfill that obligation and to serve our community.
So I had the privilege of doing a tour yesterday. You guys were not there because you're the main event here. So,
Thank you.
So I picked up these brochures. You guys do a lot. Now, you're located in downtown Phoenix.
Correct.
But I understand that you have other areas that you collaborate. Would you like to expand on that?
Well, we spoke about families and keeping the family unit together, I think is very important. As one of the other coordinators, I remember telling me, getting married and having kids, there was no reference book, to go along with that. So to get whatever help that we can do to help just mitigate some of the challenges that people have, whether it be with their children or with their spouses or whatever. Just trying to give them an opportunity to learn about ways of dealing, dealing with your inner demons as well as dealing with those family members as well.
So how are you reaching the community? How are people finding you?
Well, some of the ways that we reach out into the communities are not only through our collaborations and partnerships with such organizations as SACLA, Substance Abuse Coalition Leaders of Arizona. We also work close with an organization called Positive Image Sports, which, as you know, is run by David Jones, Reverend David Jones.
Give him a shout out.
We work very closely with Wholeness to Peace, which is a relatively new organization, business that was just formed. We work closely with them.
Yeah, these are licensed therapists.
Right. Yep. And then the Black Therapists of Arizona. I always get their name wrong, but they're a recently formed group. We partnered with them. We work with several other coalitions around the state, such as the aforementioned Urban Indian Coalition, Tempe Coalition, the Wild Coalition, Way Out West, that's down in Buckeye, Rise Up Glendale, RUG, which is up in Glendale, Arizona, of course, and at least 40 or 50 different organizations around the state. And so that allows us to utilize our resources and also utilize the resources that things people bring to the table. And we also have a national presence. We work very closely with the DFC, CADCA, and we were actually afforded the opportunity to speak at their conference last year in Washington, D.C. at the Harbor. Lauren Grizzard and I did. And then as a result of that, we were able to participate in a national forum that took place a couple of months ago that included a coalition from Alabama and Detroit, Michigan. So we were able to get our message out there, let people know, hey, we have a lot of things going on here in Arizona. Some of it's pretty innovative. A lot of people around the country are coming forward. Some of them, they are asking us. Sometimes we get calls.
Clyde talked about all of the different collaborations. We also do a lot of work of doing outreach as well, reaching out to the schools, reaching out to other organizations, along with the help of Positive Image Sports. We have various events that go on. We have a monthly bowling event, for instance, which actually just brings people together and gives us an opportunity to let people know what we do, and other organizations give an opportunity to let people know what they do. We're about to break the record of the Guinness Book of World Records on getting the number of people dribbling a basketball at one time. I mean, we're talking about 9,000 people that will be out there. We'll have a chance to tell our message to a lot of folks.
I look forward to that because I've been asked to be one of the ambassadors. Not sure what that does, but to see the community come together,
absolutely,
the cause, and then the faces that people are going to be having out there to say, a Me Too.
Yeah.
It's another Me Too, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. And if I may, that takes place October the 14th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is when that happens.
They're right around the corner.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
What other programs that I didn't ask about that you want to make sure that our listeners and viewers
I want to make sure that some of the things that we do with seniors. I mean, we have, Tanner Properties, our sister company, has developed 5 senior housing units throughout the valley, and gives us an opportunity to go in and work with seniors. We have them doing something called share yoga. We have a transportation program to help them get to the market so that they can buy groceries. We do a lot of things with the senior communities as well, just to help them, have a more pleasurable life, to have activities so that they don't get stuck staying in their apartments. Gives them a chance to come down and interact with each other and do different things and providing activities that we provide for them.
I think I'll put the label of quality of life on that one.
Quality of life, that fits very well.
I think so.
Okay.
It's not the Me Too. It is a Me Too with the seniors, but it's the quality of life.
We have, there's a program that we have, Celebration Circle. There are a lot of people that they need a way of expressing the positives. And what we have found is getting just a group of people in a circle where you go around and talk about the most positive thing that you can think about.
Wow, that's powerful.
That, and so that they can leave there thinking about the positive rather than all the negatives that they brought into the circle.
Kerwin, I'm always telling everybody, celebrate your life. But what do? We celebrate our birthdays.
Okay.
We celebrate our anniversaries.
Right.
We celebrate,
Holidays.
other holidays. And then, there's anniversaries for people getting married. Some are not married.
Right.
So there's different milestones in people's lives, and some people don't have children. So it's like, wait a minute. There's me.
Mm-hmm.
There's all about me. People are like, why are you always doing this? Because it's about me right now. This is my life, and I'm going to do the best I can to live it as best as I'm able to. And to celebrate every day we get to wake up. Maybe we're going to have a struggle that day. Maybe we woke up with a struggle still from the day before. But then think of the other things that you don't have a struggle with.
Sure, absolutely.
So, yeah,
And
I'm
that is
always
key.
thinking the outside the box thing. But celebrate you. I love that you would have a circle that says, what's good today?
Yeah.
Not focus on what's not going our way. Because we could all dwell on that one, could we not?
Yeah, for sure. Certainly, our community is one that was probably one of the worst as far as seeking help for mental health.
Right.
And I I think it's the way we grew up. I mean, I myself, in growing up, if you're having issues, if you're having problems, you were told, suck it up,
Yeah.
Even the church, would tell you, oh, just pray on it, or whatever. But we were actually taught to just deal with it ourselves. And probably the worst thing in the world sometimes that you can do. And I think that what we're trying to do is let people know it's okay. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. There's nothing wrong with looking for help when you're feeling a certain way. It's important. It's important. Your mental health is as important as your physical health, and you go to the doctor to get medications or whatever to help your physical health. Well, go get help as well for your mental health.
So I have a final question for each of you.
Okay.
I'll start with Clyde.
Okay.
Yeah, start with Clyde.
If I only was given the opportunity to ask one question to get an idea of who you are, what you're about, it would be this question. What message would you like to leave everyone based on your journey of your life?
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Give it to me. I always love hearing the answer.
I do what I do. What I do when I do, because when I do what I do what I do.
That was deep, Clyde.
It was. It was.
It's just basically saying that when I have the opportunity to do things, and I know I'm supposed to do, then I do them, and that's what made me do those things, because I know I'm supposed to do them.
For those people who got stuck in the middle of I do and I do and I do, thank you, because I do understand.
Okay, you're welcome.
Oh, are you going to give me a riddle too?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was the same question.
So what message would you like to leave everyone based on your journey of your life?
My background has always been in financial services. I mean, whether it be banking or investments or insurance, that's been my career up until somehow I ended up in nonprofit. And I think that because I was so involved with finance, that I finally got a chance to do something for people that didn't necessarily have anything to do with, or as much to do with money directly. It's so much more fulfilling when you do something for people that directly affects them. Whether it be helping homeless veterans, whether it be educating kids about anti-tobacco, anti-drugs, or these things, and maybe I'm just getting old, but these things are more fulfilling to me than all of what I've done from a financial standpoint to help people.
I have to say, with your answer, Kerwin, and knowing you just a little bit, I feel the passion when you speak.
Well, thank you.
I really do. So thank you for your answers, both of you gentlemen. And thank you for sharing more about what TCDC does and how you're making an impact in the community. This inspiring story was brought to you by MMG, your global creative agency based right here in downtown Chandler.